And the problem is that if you put a micronutrient into a food, it depends on how many people eat that food and how much of it they get to eat. And the really, really poor rural people don't buy anything. They grow or barter everything. So the only thing that is common to them that has to be bought is salt. So salt is an ideal carrier of micronutrients because all of it goes through some form of manufacturing at one point. And its daily consumption is independent of the economic status of the person that eats it. And it's done on a variety of scales. This is a typical Indian salt pan, which is on by the sea, and it's solar powered. So it's certainly energy efficient. But the material that's there is fairly labor intensive, and it actually does go through some sort of processing because it is collected, it is dried, and it is shipped out to be sold even to the poorest of the poor. So there is an avenue here to get in and add something that is positive. And the percent of households consuming iodized salt grows by about more than double since 1999 due to the effect of the United Nations, the UNICEF program on salt iodization, which, as I said, was essentially funded by the Kiwanis Clubs of North America. They spent about $100 million to do this and affected about 1.5 million people. We ourselves initiated a program to develop salt, which not only carries iodine, but also carries iron, because it seemed like a logical thing to do because there's already an infrastructure there to deliver iodine. Since we talked about Bangladesh, there's another picture of Bangladesh. It shows the typical family unit, which is an extended family who lives in a little space there. The saris you talked about up on the shelf there, on the rope getting dry. And this is a very poor community. We ended up producing a double fortified salt where we microencapsulated the iron, and as a result prevented its chemical interaction between iodine. Yes, please. Oh, just a minute. So in Ghana we fed 5,000 kids, and after 8 months, about a third of them were no longer anemic. And we repeated that later on in India. Essentially, the technology consists of making solid grain-sized particles, which have sort of 3 layers. The central layer is a dark red iron compound, which is pretty unsightly but very bioavailable. It is painted white by titanium dioxide and is enclosed in a fat outer shell, which prevents its reaction with anything. But as soon as you throw it into boiling water when you're cooking, it ends up being available. And the big thing was, we lost a picture of the equipment actually. We had to scale it. Engineering is very easy in the lab, it's very difficult in large scale. So we went from 6 kilos, 100 grams, 6 kilos, 35, 200, 600. 600 kilograms is 9 million doses per day. And we did this for 3.5 million school kids, which 1 million were cured of anemia, and all were cured of iodine deficiency diseases in 8 months. Talked about the problem of not enough fuel in Bangladesh, and this is how they cook. This is straw that sort of gets thrown into the hole. You can see the little flame down in the hole, and the pot is over it, and this is how they get their food done. So no, not much fuel, not much worldly goods in this place. Okay, since I have one more time, the point that we take home is what we do can and does impact the rest of the world, and it's our obligation to make